Biggest and best breakfast show in Singapore. We are The Big Show, and our guest for this morning is award-winning therapist from the therapy room. We've got Dr. Geraldine Tan. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Jerry.
Glad to be back again.
How are you in the lead up to Chinese New Year?
It is very hectic, and this year everything is like legit open, right? And everyone is arranging for lunches, for dinners.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
So your social calendar is pretty much filled up.
The social calendar is one thing. I'm thinking of all the calories. Oh my goodness!
Yeah, every time you go out for a Chinese New Year lunch or dinner or whatever, it's at least 2,000 calories.
You know what I didn't have last year? I didn't have my yusheng.
Oh,
You should.
good for you.
Oh, no, but I want
370
my
grams of yusheng is already 550 calories.
Okay, never mind. I don't want it this year either. Okay, fine. I'll have my pineapple tots.
Yeah, you reckon?
So, Dr. Jerry, today we're talking about self-esteem and boosting your self-esteem just in time, I guess, for all the socializing that we're going to be doing for Chinese New Year.
Yes, because I realized last week I was advocating for everyone to stand up for yourself, put that bubble around yourself. And then I was like, if we don't strengthen ourselves, we're going to implode, right? So that's why we're talking about self-esteem today. Yeah. And I mentioned about self-esteem before. Self-esteem is the belief in your own ability. So there's the 3 levels. You have your confidence, you have your esteem before your worth. So we're targeting the belief in ourselves.
So why do so many people have low self-esteem? What's the reason for it?
So many different reasons, right? I think one of the big one, I'm not sure in other cultures, but in Asian cultures, this negative self-talk starts from young. And we are taught this negative self-talk. If you can't, you can't take the stress, you can't do anything big in the future. You're not as good as, or why can't you be as good as the next person? And it can be very innocuous, right? But it can hurt a lot. And you don't know how it impacts the young one. So this negative self-talk, when they hear it often enough and it becomes their own self-talk, they start to talk negatively internally.
And they start to believe it as well.
Yes. So the belief is then hit, right? Because you then, you can do certain things, but you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So are we talking about kids or children this morning?
We're talking about cross-board, actually. We're talking about the children. But, Angel was asking, FD was asking what can cause this and, negative self-talk. And it starts from a very, very young age. The other one is comparison. And a very simple comparison is physical attractiveness. If society defines a type of beauty as beauty, then everybody starts to follow that, right? They start to think that is the norm, that is the right way to go. And if I don't have maybe K-pop, the sharp chin and the pixie look, then I'm not good enough.
But that comparison can help, can exist in the family as well. I went through it as a child because my brother was an automotive engineer and I was never that academic. And the question was always brought up, why aren't you like him?
Yeah, look at you now.
Yeah.
Such low self-esteem, FD.
No, but I went through a stage where I did have very low self-esteem.
Right.
Jerry,
Turned out okay.
This also goes back to the conversation we had last week as well, because it happens in a lot of social settings with kids. Chinese New Year, you're like, oh, you put on a little bit of weight today, this year. Why are you looking so extra or whatever it is. A lot of the aunties and cousins and all that do that.
No, but when I went through it, I the minute that pressure started to hit me, I started to decline academically, right? So I became a very almost
withdrawn.
Almost. I would say I was weak. I was weak academically, and it was only when I went out and what clicked in my mind was when someone said, "You've got a voice I can use."
Then your confidence built.
And then suddenly I had something that
was yours.
was mine.
Yeah.
And that turned me around. But before that, I honestly thought, I'm not going to go anywhere in life.
But it's true. We all have our gifts.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people have one gift.
Some people are
maybe have
multi-talented.
Yeah.
many gifts.
Yeah.
You know, but unfortunately they can't focus on one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Enough to pursue it.
Yeah.
So it's very funny. I think what's important is people know themselves.
Yeah.
So I think that's very, very important. Let's take someone like William Hung, for example, right?
Yeah.
On American Idol,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So he cannot sing to save his life, but in his head he can.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, he went on and people started making fun of him and he made some money out of it,
Out
American
of
Idol.
people making
but there
fun
are
of him,
many
yeah.
people like that out there. You see, they don't know themselves. They actually have other better talents,
Yeah.
but they don't know it. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
and you mentioned so many people were telling you this and that right at the end, and that put you down.
Yeah.
So I think the company you keep is also important.
I was going to say, yeah. So is that what boosting self-esteem is about? Firstly, finding that one gift or those few bits of talent that you can build on so you can build your confidence and the people that you're surrounded with. Because if you're not surrounded with great friends, they're all going to say you're fantastic, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
William Hung.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes we know the gifts. So if I turn it around a little bit, right, there's another course. So the third course that I was going to look at precisely what you've just said is actually being outside of a group or not belonging to a group. So we've seen that whether for children, whether for adults, they feel like they don't belong in that environment. So what after you described was, when everyone is some sort of an engineer, very logical, their work is very logical. In your work, you're more creative. Suddenly you don't belong in that environment.
Yeah.
You feel like an outcast.
Yeah.
And that's where you start to doubt yourself. Even though you know you have a voice, but you don't know how to use it, where to use it until you find your community. So yeah, that's finding your space, finding your community. And I'm glad you found your community.
Oh, I'm so glad I found my community.
So how do people with low self-esteem find their community when they're already sort of so shy socially? So we can't hear you.
Oh, what happened?
I think
we lost you.
We mute you. Did
We
you
lost you.
We can't.
Can't hear you. Oops.
Oopsie. Nope.
No.
Oops.
No.
Oh.
You've
Okay.
gone.
Well, bye-bye.
Okay.
Go out
See
and come
you.
back in.
Luckily, we're on the Big
out,
Show
come back
TV.
in.
We
Yeah.
can still see
She
you.
understands.
Yeah, so I think the company you keep is also very important.
It was.
Absolutely.
And that's why as a child, right? Let's say if the parent keeps on praising the
you're
the
so
kid,
good.
you're
We're
so
talk-
good, so good at
Yeah.
everything, and then one day that child goes out there and suddenly he realizes, oh
He's
no,
not that
maybe
good.
I'm not that good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
But the choice of words is very important.
Yeah.
Like parents want to be encouraging, right?
This is exactly me, right? I felt I wasn't going to achieve anything. I wasn't going to go anywhere until I got my radio job on Rediffusion. Then I was in amongst the likes of Eric Lim and Chris Ho and people like that. And suddenly they helped build
you, bring
that
you up,
confidence
yeah.
in me because I was with these people who had so much talent,
Right.
yeah.
So it was
Hello,
really
welcome
quite
back.
Mic test 1, 2.
It's working.
It's working.
Much
How
better.
did it suddenly disappear on me? Oh no!
You need a new microphone. You need me to buy you a new microphone.
No, I don't think
A
it's
gold
a microphone issue.
Okay, yeah. So where did we leave off?
I think we were talking about
the
FD.
friends, and
being in the right circle.
Whether they are extroverted or not, I think the system got angry with me when I said they don't have to be an introvert. We don't have to be an introvert to have low self-esteem, but the low self-esteem may shut us up from expressing our true emotions. So that might affect us in that way. So we know our abilities is to see where we fit in that, where our talents fit or where our gifts fit. That might be a little bit difficult also.
Is it true that a lot of people with low self-esteem try to overcompensate? Because I feel like some people with low self-esteem can be quite loud as well.
I think so.
Yeah.
And sort of possessive and the jealous type, and just the complete opposite.
I can see why that happens. They want to assert themselves. They want to showcase that they are good, but because they don't know how to do it, they don't even trust themselves. So I know what I can do. I know, for example, if I use FD, if he knows his voice, and he knows he can use his voice, but he doesn't quite know how to place it, then he might want to showcase it inappropriately. And we read it as overcompensating. Because it's just the wrong place, wrong time, and the wrong audience.
Is there any way that we can test our self-esteem?
Yes. Do you want to try?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Of course.
So there is a local author, SOS actually wrote or produced this book, Do I Matter? And it's taken, it's very
reflective.
It's practically a mirror.
It is a mirror.
So you look at yourself. If you like what you see, all right. If you don't like, that's it. That's another one down.
But I like
for
it
you.
though, because it allows you to look into the book, and it's a journey to building your self-esteem. So you're looking at yourself and you're looking at the cover. Very cool.
Yes, it's a very nice, simple read for those that love to do a lot of exercise. There are a lot of exercises in this book. But yeah, let's go for the little test. Just 10 questions.
Hold on. Jerry, we'll go on air and we'll make a mention of that book. Okay?
Okay.
And then maybe we can you can highlight a few things from the book. And then when we go back on the Big Show TV, we can do the test.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. We'll just explain the book. We're back on The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is Dr. Geraldine Tan from the Therapy Room. Gong Si Fa Chai! Hwara!
You're starting early.
What do you mean starting
Not that early.
No, not that
He
early.
started
weekend.
right after Christmas last year.
And my God of Fortune didn't leave my side.
Your
That
God
is
of
true.
Fortune didn't go anywhere.
He's been out with me the whole
I
year.
know.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Dr. Jerry, today we're talking about boosting self-esteem, and on the Big Show TV, we're just introducing a book to us by Wong Lai Chun. It's by the Samaritans of Singapore. It's called Do I Matter? So basically,
Awesome book.
it's a journey to building your self-esteem. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so this book is a really nice read, and it has lots of exercises for those that want love the exercises, reflecting on themselves and what they can do to get rid of some of the more sticky areas of the self-esteem or low self-esteem. So they can actually use this book. They can try out the exercises. The different chapters have reflection questions. How neat is that?
Nice,
Wow, nice.
Are insecurity and self-esteem, low self-esteem, the same thing?
So low self-esteem can encompass insecurities, but insecurities can manifest in many different ways, not just low self-esteem.
Prashant on our Facebook page has an interesting question. How about self-deprecating humor? He says some people use it, some stand-ups use it. How does that pan out in the long term?
Yeah, so I mentioned before about the negative self-talk, right? But if you can use that, and that is your gift, and you can use that to your advantage, then it's a gift. It's not something that brings you down or to break down your self-esteem. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, but it's a very fine line. If you keep telling yourself that you're no good, you're horrible, you're bad, and you start to internalize it, okay? So then that becomes dangerous and you start to be dysfunctional, then that's no good.
So, Dr. Jerry, you say there's actually a way that we can test our self-esteem?
Do we want to do it on air?
Let's do it on the Big Show TV.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Meantime, here's Kylie Minogue spinning around right here on 1FM 91.3. Good morning, Singapore.
Okay, exercise time.
Okay, exercise time.
Yes, 10 questions, just yes or no. And
Okay.
if you answer more than 5, Okay, so the first question. They are they are not really questions, they are statements, okay? So yes or no to these statements. I tend to like to stay within what is familiar to me, tasks, people, places.
Do we say it out loud or?
Oh,
You
Or
don't
maybe we
have
write
to.
it down.
Okay, we write
we
it down.
can.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So the second one, I am easily upset by criticism. 3, I
Okay.
feel I need to control situations and I want predictability.
Okay.
4, I find it hard to be open and honest with people most times.
okay.
5, I blame myself and others for things that go wrong. 6, I don't like myself sometimes. 7, I tend to compare myself with others. 8, I make myself feel better, sometimes at the expense of others.
Oh, wow. Okay.
9, I feel alone and insecure. 10, if people get close to me, they will not like me.
Oh, wow. I only have one yes.
We got 3 yeses.
I have one yes.
I'm all nose.
I only have one yes.
How much
We know
challenge
you're not
me?
low on self-esteem, Glenn. We could have told you that.
Really?
Yeah,
But
I mean, we work with you every day. We know exactly
Oh,
where
my
your
goodness.
self-esteem is.
Wait, we're giving you a mirror for your birthday.
I
Did
thought,
you
the
hear?
only one I was thinking of is like, you said
want-
something about
You wanted
at
a
the
yes,
expense
right?
of someone
Yeah.
else.
Oh,
Right, make myself feel good
Yeah.
at the expense of someone else. I had to think a bit.
So did
No,
I.
It's
so did I.
okay. You're only
No,
human.
because we have competitors. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Don't wanna
not
do
in
that.
that aspect. Not in that
So how
aspect.
many yeses do you need to have before you need to work on your self-esteem? 5.
5.
Right,
Yeah, so
okay.
Five,
not too bad.
More than 5 times, 5 and above, then
Okay.
it would be. It again, this is a screener, so it is potential. It doesn't mean that you do have low self-esteem, so you do need to check in with a professional. But I like the last one. The last one is, if people get close to me, they will not like me. Now, many times in session, I hear that, like, oh, but if people get to know me, know the real me, maybe they won't like me at all. So they put on a facade, which is very tiring for
the
many
person.
people.
I have a
But-
friend
but-
like that as well. I mean, this friend who enjoys their drink feels that if they don't drink, people won't like them.
Oh.
That they'll be boring. So is that also kind of their way of putting up a facade?
Yeah, so sometimes that is a little indicator for us that there is some low self-esteem there.
I'm just listening to Jerry talk, and I'd like everybody to just stop and think now. How many people in your life know the real you? Stop to think about it. Are we really that open that everybody knows the real
Everything
me?
about you.
No,
Yeah.
we're
no,
not.
we're not.
We're not.
But because I think we can't be 100% open to 100% of people.
You can't.
Right?
But
You got to pick and choose what you open up.
The reason why I asked that question is because I want you to think about it and see not how big that group is, but the other way around. How small is that group? And do you need to
That you're open
enlarge
with,
the
right.
group? Because the other...
But some people's lives are an open book, right?
That is true
In-
as
in
well.
that
Yeah.
sense.
But I think those people's lives whom we think are an open book may necessarily also be a facade that they're trying to
Yeah.
cover their real them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What we think is like, oh, they're so public about
Yeah.
everything and all
Yeah.
that. But behind closed doors, we don't know what's happening.
Jerry, what do you say to Celine on our Facebook page who says, thanks for this topic because my son is a more creative type and he finds it hard to fit in.
Oh.
What do you say to Celine?
So her question would be,
How does she help him fit in? What does she need to do? She's got a creative type son.
Send him to Jerry. Because I mean,
The
because Jerry has no
therapy room.
idea exactly in what
It's out of
area
context.
he's
Yeah.
creative,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's a bit difficult.
Yeah, I guess.
I suppose picking up on what you said earlier about, the real self. I don't think we need everybody to know every nitty gritty detail about ourselves. We're looking more in the likes of being authentic, being congruent with yourself. So like this young boy, if this young boy is creative, then I would like him to showcase his creativity rather than what I hear in sessions would be they do what the friends do or what the environment wants them to do. So they will tell me, I'm very, very adaptable and I'll do whatever, the group or the friends want me to. I said, do you actually enjoy it? Or I don't, but I can do. No, now that's not being authentic. That's putting up a front. So there's a difference between maintaining your privacy and putting up a front. So I just wanted to, draw that out for us.
So are you saying like authenticity, you mean if I only want to reveal 50% of my life, I need to be sure of myself that 50% is 100% honest and it's straight up authentic.
Yes.
Then
Yes.
the
So
other
they-
50% I can keep for myself or for whoever else I want
It's
to reveal
okay.
it to.
It's okay. Yes, you're entitled to your privacy. You're entitled to not letting the whole world know every detail of your life.
Yeah.
But whatever you project, it's not fake.
Yeah.
You're not acting.
Yeah.
The last thing we want is for the group to realize that you've been patronizing them the entire time.
Yeah. Good morning, Singapore, and welcome to The Big Show. Our guest for this morning and every Tuesday morning is award-winning therapist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan. Good morning.
Good morning.
I said therapist again. I mean psychologist. So I'm
It's
like,
okay.
why does it
Therapist,
sound different
psychologist.
this morning? I'm saying it, but it's not sounding,
Your mind and your
Yeah.
mouth is not
It's like
working in sync. today.
award-winning psychologist, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
So do people call you a therapist as well?
Yes. So we
Okay.
get called all sorts of things,
we get
therapist,
called all sorts of
counselor.
things.
What else do you get called? Yeah.
What else do they call you?
Yeah, my confidant.
No, the old-fashioned one would say shrink. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that for some time. Counselors, we get called
Yeah.
counselors also. Yeah, because they, I think people don't know quite the difference. So it's okay. Yeah, we're still doing our work.
We should call you our resident shrink. I like that. She's a resident shrink. Well, she said that. She said she hasn't heard it in a while.
I always thought
is
a
a shrink.
shrink was a psychiatrist.
So which is it, Dr. Jerry? Or are they both they're both referred to the same thing?
Yeah, so in the past, where the psychiatrist is also a psychoanalyst or psychotherapist, it is interchangeable. So it started from there. Yeah.
But
Okay.
why shrink though?
I don't know. Do you
Why
know?
shrink?
No,
I'm going to look that up.
I have the reason. Because they shrink your problems and make them grow.
Yes, I think that's it. Yeah.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Shrink the problems and they go away.
Okay, never mind. We'll find out a little bit more and confirm that.
Jerry, let's say someone was following us on that test we just did, right?
Yes.
And they came up with 6 or 7 yeses. Are there coping mechanisms for them?
Yeah, I guess also we want to see how it manifests in the different situations. So let's go to that in a little bit. So you might have said yes. But I don't think so. I don't feel so. So let me see. We have at school, at school, some of the students would say, I'm scared that I would fail my parents and teachers.
Okay.
The failing student never says that. It's always my A students that tends to say that because they are so scared they lose the plot. They're so scared that they lose that placing and they fail. At work, this is very interesting. I just saw a lady and she was very, very stressed. Now she's at this a really high level, one of the C-suites, and she just got a promotion into the C-suite. So we're thinking this lady should be, very accomplished, very high abilities, but she came in pieces. And this is what she said. She said that this promotion is very stressful. I don't think I can do it. It's in a different area and I cannot manage. And she proceeded to tell all the details, right? And she says, I'm not getting validation for the work that I do. So I was very puzzled. I was like, wow, the biggest validation is, your promotion. And position, right? So it turns out that she was trying to do her previous work. Now, the previous work has to be delegated to one down. That means, the people in her team, she can no longer do it. But her work is in that area is very competent and she's very familiar with that. So if we go through that list that we went before, right? Familiarity in the task that you do. So she was very familiar. She wanted to continue to do that. And she expected validation for that work, which is no longer her work. So that compounded the problem. And she continued to think that she is no good in her mind. Even when she asked her boss, how is she doing? The boss said, you're doing fine. So she couldn't wrap her head around why she is not doing well. She thinks she's not doing well. So that's a very classic scene of low self-esteem in the workplace and her suffering. No one else is.
Could be her parents' fault. Okay, we'll continue to talk about this on the Big Show TV. I mean, for some people, right? Self-esteem issues and all. Because I think everyone is wired.
Right?
Everyone is wired differently.
Yeah.
Everyone is wired differently.
True,
we
true.
have friends, who are absolutely brilliant, but because of how they're wired, it accounts for nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just how maybe they were brought up or whatever. So I asked the question: is it genetic? I don't believe so.
I don't believe so.
Okay? I don't believe it's genetic because I want to use myself as an example. I'm not like my mom. I'm not like my dad.
I feel it's also, when you mean genetic or environment based.
Yeah, I would say
That's
it's
the
more
thing. But
environmental.
some people feel like, okay, maybe, your parents are
My
like that,
parents
so you are like
low
that.
on self-esteem, so
You know
that's
what I mean?
I am, yeah.
So it's a bit,
But if
it's
you
a
think,
bit deceiving
But
in
if you
that
think
sense.
about it, I mean, the parents being, say, low on self-esteem would bring the child up in an environment that's
like
also
that.
low self-esteem.
Perhaps.
So it would be the environment.
But
most
like
of
I
it.
said, right, I was in that environment, right?
Yeah. And you didn't turn out like
Yes,
that.
and I'm completely different, let's say, from my brother.
Would you have turned out like that if you didn't go into the entertainment industry? Were you already? Because you said you started out quite nerdy and not as noisy as you are now, right?
Yeah, but I was always very clear about, the things I wanted to do and the things I liked. You know what I mean? And also it's like, if I wasn't really good at something, I would look for something
Else.
I
To
won't
excel
waste
at.
my time.
So, Jerry, is that possible? Is the environment a kickstart factor?
Glenn is right. It doesn't have to be hereditary, but there's something called intergenerational psychology where it can be transferred from one generation to another generation. So it's not hereditary, but the environment. So it's somewhat like the environment, but it's almost encoded into that whole narrative
I've got the meaning of shrink.
Oh, they
Okay.
shrink your problems and they go
No,
away.
no. So the word shrink comes from head shrinkage, which refers to the ancient practice of shrinking the head of a conquered enemy.
Oh.
Oh.
So they would actually shrink the head of a conquered.
So this is what you all do. You actually shrink people's heads so they don't think so much.
Like in Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Yes.
Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
the guy with the small head.
Yeah, there you go. Shrink your head.
No. I like FD's definition better.
So do I. Yeah, we'll shrink your
Friendly,
problems
I'm
away.
going with FD's definition.
That could be your new slogan for 2023. The therapy room. We shrink your problems. Not your heads.
But I really think that people should not be so hard on themselves.
Yeah, I think
You
so.
know,
as well.
easier said than done.
They
but,
need it.
Yeah.
but the more they try to do many, many things, for example, right? And perhaps maybe they feel they're not excelling the way they want to excel. That's when maybe their self-esteem gets affected even more.
They need a good support system.
Yes,
they
the
need
support
friends to
system
tell
is
them
very
you
important.
suck. You know what I mean? Or you're
Maybe
really
not
good
you
at
suck,
no,
but-
but you know
but
what I mean. To be
communicate with
honest,
them properly.
to be authentic, like what she's saying. You
Yeah.
know, you
Yes.
need to. If you're not good at something, you need someone to tell you maybe you should try something else.
Let's start from the self first. So FD was asking about coping mechanisms. So
Yeah.
3 simple things. It's so simple. It's so simple that you go hard. You mean it works. So the very first one is letting yourself know that mistakes are okay. Because someone with low self-esteem would never want to make a mistake. So the first thing we tell ourselves, mistakes are okay. You won't die from it. Okay? And the second one is saying sorry. Saying sorry is not an admission of failure. It's saying that I've learned something. So we learn how to say sorry. Then the third one is saying thank you. When someone gives a compliment, for goodness sake, say thank you.
Yeah. Just take it.
But
Take
you know,
it.
Singaporeans, I shy.
Yeah, no need to say
Yeah.
thank you. No, it's okay.
Shy means your self-esteem is also,
I wonder.
a bit low.
Yeah, so practice saying thank you. So 3 simple things. It's so simple. I mean, there are whole other things that we can do, but if we just start with these 3, let's try, right? And see how that helps us. It's actually very difficult. I say it as, something so simple, like, mistakes are okay, saying sorry, saying thank you. My goodness, we've been taught since young, but how many of us are able to do that with the right intentions?
And there are going to be a lot of like compliments flying around, but the compliments also, because of Chinese New Year, but the compliments also need to be authentic, right?
Yeah.
They're not just saying it to say it.
Well, we cannot control somebody else's
Yeah,
mouth.
that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Control
But
yourself.
you know
yeah.
what? If someone compliments me, I'm going to take it at face value. So
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, right, if I were in the music industry, right, I would rather be a songwriter than a singer.
Why?
Because, I don't know, I think it takes a lot to be, out there in
It's
front.
taxing.
of everyone.
Oh my gosh. It's
But
awful.
think of all the great songwriters,
Yeah.
your David Fosters,
Foster.
your Max
Quincy
Martins,
Jones. Yeah.
Quincy Jones,
Yeah.
I mean, they have so much passion, but they're working behind the scenes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just feel like, that's why I'm saying I would rather, as much as you guys say that, my self-esteem is up there and all that, but I don't necessarily want to be a star
The limelight.
in the
On
limelight.
I've
stage,
noticed
yeah.
that about you all the time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love working behind the scenes as well.
And this is why you are so comfortable with radio.
And I would love to be like a talent scout as well, because there would be nothing more satisfying
Than building some.
finding new talent.
So you like building things.
I love building
That's
things,
what it is.
actually.
You like building it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Prashant on our Facebook page has got an interesting thing. Have you ever come across, I don't know whether you can answer this question, people who use social media as an artificial way to boost their self-esteem?
Of course.
Oh,
Of
yeah.
course.
Plenty.
Yeah.
There's so many people around.
Where you need that validation and you fish for that validation and you bait people for that validation. Yeah.
And that in itself is so hard.
And it's so dangerous.
Because once you build a base for yourself, for example, all of us here, Shaun and Shalini and FD, Angel, myself. Let's say we've built our personal social media, let's say, and we have like 100,000, I'm just saying, we have 100,000 followers each. What do you think you're going to spend most of the day doing?
Making sure those 100,000 followers stay there.
Yes, exactly. So it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
You spend all your time thinking of things to get those likes and to make sure that more people start following you and all that, and there's no rest.
Yeah.
For many of the influencers out there and all that, it is hard work.
You know why there's no rest? Because it's their job.
Exactly.
It's a business.
But if it's a job and you are comfortable with it, that's perfectly fine. But there have been many people that have been devastated by it, where a few followers drop away, or how come this post has less likes than the last post? What did I do? Why? What did I do? They start obsessing about it, and that really breaks them. And then or they I'm not sure whether there's a KPI, if they don't hit their KPI, and they are not as good anymore. Yeah, so if they need that to boost their self-esteem, then that becomes a very dangerous game.
But it's devastating, especially for those that use it as a tool to earn money and stuff like that, because they need the numbers to stay up for more clients to come along.
But if you understand life, you can only be flavor of the month for so long.
Yeah, but everyone wants to be the star, especially when you choose a career path like that.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be the star.
True.
And it's so hard. I don't believe anyone's really enjoying it,
No, it's very tough. It's a tough thing to follow.
Good morning, Singapore, and welcome back to The Big Show and The Big Show TV. Our guest for this morning is award-winning psychologist from the therapy room, Dr. Geraldine Tan. That felt so much better.
Our resident shrink.
Where we shrink your problems, right?
Yes. Shrink your problems and make them go away.
You can shrink my problems anytime.
It's already catching on. Okay, I take full credit. Thank you. All right. So today we're talking about self-esteem and how we can boost it, especially leading up to Chinese New Year, which is only 5 days away. How, where, what can we do?
So we have 3 things that I said it was simple. I say it is simple, but I'm not sure if it's so simple. So the first thing we do is telling ourselves that mistakes are okay. Second thing is saying sorry. So sorry is not an admission of failure. It's telling people that we have learned, telling ourselves that we have learned something. And the last one is saying thank you. When someone gives a compliment to us, say thank you. Receive it with grace. Yes. And I have a quote from Thomas Paine. And he says, and this was quite thought-provoking. And he says, he who dares not offend cannot be honest.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why we all love Donald Trump, is it?
It's all out there.
I don't think he's very honest.
Oh, that was quick.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Wow. Okay, Jerry.
You know what, Jerry? You're right.
We know where you're. Nothing. It's okay.
No, she's right. She's right.
She's right.
I don't think he's very honest.
No.
Okay. Well, on that note, thank you very much, Jerry, for joining us today.
No worries. And please enjoy your pineapple tarts. These are baked by Bakers Beyond this for all our partners and friends. And we have 5 bakers this year again. So these are ladies from Beyond Social Services. Beyond Social Services gathers these ladies, teach them a skill, and then sends them off to do their home businesses so
Nice.
that they can bring up their families.
Awesome.
I've already had 2, so I've had my quota for the
These
year.
tarts
Thank
are
you.
perfect, man.
Really
perfect.
nice.
They're the
yeah.
best.
I
They're
don't
the
open
best.
mine. Can I try one?
Sure, take one of my tarts.
Yes,
Yes,
I'll take one.
Take one of your tart.
Take
Do you
my
know how that
tart.
sounds?
Take my tart anytime, Glenn. Okay. We've got the question of the day coming up on the Big Show TV. But in the meantime, thank you so
Thanks,
much, Dr.
Jerry.
Jerry.
Bye.
恭喜发财。
恭喜发财，新年快乐！